Good morning, students. Welcome to our e-learning class. Students, today in this video, we will continue the same chapter 2, that is Indian economy since 1950 to 1990. Same chapter 2, that is Indian economy since 1950 to 1990, from the book Indian Economic Development. And today we will cover the following topics. The topics are development of agriculture sector, between 1950 to 1990, the role of industry in the development of India, why public sector was given more leading role, and also development of foreign trade between 1950 to 1990. At last we will go another topic which is not mentioned here, that is debates over subsidies in agriculture. Students, you know what was the situation of Indian industry at the time of independence. You know very well. You have studied in the previous chapter that one. Students, economists have found that poor nations can progress only if they have good industrial sector. That means it is a view given by economists. What they had the view? They had the view that unless in poor nations there is no development of industrial sector, then such countries will not progress. So for the very progress of the poor nations, it is necessary to develop the industrial sector. Why? Because industries always helps in providing employment. It generates employment opportunities. It helps in the production of goods and services. It helps in bringing modernization in agriculture and industry. Okay, so since it is generating and creating employment opportunities, helps in production of goods and services, and also it brings modernization in agriculture. For all these reasons, there is urgent need to develop industrial sector in our country India or in all poor nations, because industrial sector will help in bringing prosperity. It helps in bringing prosperity, overall prosperity in the country. That's why, for the same reasons, our policy makers in India, or the architects of planning commission, or our Indian leaders, they gave priority for the development of industries through 5-year plans in our country India. They gave priority for the development of industries in the 5-year plans. A major emphasis was given in the second 5-year plan for the development of industrial sector. You know, already we have studied in the first 5-year plan, they gave importance to agriculture to achieve self-sufficiency in agricultural products or food grains. Similarly, in the second 5-year plan, they gave importance, or more emphasis was laid in the development of industries. As you studied in the previous chapter, at the time of independence, about the backwardness of industrial sector. Why? Because the British government never paid concentration on the development of Indian industrial sector. At the time of independence, at the time of independence, our industries were very narrow. Very less. Very few industries were there in India. That too, what type of industries? Cotton textile industries, which are concentrated largely in the western part of India. Jute textile industries, which are there in the eastern part of India and West Bengal. Cotton textile, Gujarat and Maharashtra. And the jute textile, the West Bengal, Bihar. Assam, but mostly West Bengal. Similarly, one iron and steel plant was started at Jamshedpur by Jamshedji Tata in 1905. That is one iron and steel industry. So very and many are what handicraft industries, and that also deindustrialized with the because they are unable to bear the competition from the machine-made goods from Britain. So this is the condition. Okay. So obviously there is urgent need to develop what a strong industrial base in our country, India. Now, for this purpose, who took initiative? The public sector took a major initiative. At the same time, they welcomed the private sector individuals also to invest their surplus investment for the development of industries. But major initiatives taken by public sector, I mean government alone. Okay, students? And for this they made several industrial policies. Industrial Policy Resolution 1948, 1956, etc. Okay, Industrial Policy Resolution IPR, Industrial Policy Resolution. Remember that one. At the same time, they also helped in what development of small scale industries, medium scale industries, micro industries, etc. And through 5-year plans, it was also decided that those areas which are industrially backward, such areas are been identified, plans were prepared, and in such places, industries were established to achieve balanced industrial development in our country, India. Okay, students. So I said the public sector has taken the initiative for the development of industries in our country, India, soon after independence. Now, public sector enterprise played a vital role or central role in the process of industrialization in our country, India, soon after independence. Public sector enterprise. Okay, students. So public sector enterprise or public enterprises were played a major role, a central role in the process of industrialization. At the same time, private enterprises were to play a secondary role, only a secondary role. Private sector enterprises were to play only a secondary role in the process of industrialization. It means private sector were to obtain a license. Generally, students, whenever the government will start any industry at any place, in any region, for them there is no need to take any permissions, this and that, because by thinking all angles, all fields, they will come to a conclusion to start an industry. However, whenever a private individual wants to establish an industry, he need to follow the lot of process. He has to take the license, okay, and many more permissions from the government. So private sector, it means private sector were to obtain a license for the industrial establishments and to produce goods within the prescribed limits of the production capacity. So this is the restriction on private sector. A major thrust was given to import substitution. Listen, students, a major thrust was given to what? Import substitution. It means production of such goods were to be accorded high priority. I mean, production should be given to those goods which were imported from abroad. I mean, we decided that we will produce those goods which were imported from abroad. So instead of imported from abroad, it is better to produce those goods in our country, India. So top priority was accorded to those goods which were imported from other countries. So highest priority was accorded to such goods, which is called import substitution. Import substitution. It was necessary to achieve the objective growth with self-reliance. We also decided not only we will adopt import substitution, we will also increase industrial growth. At the same time, we will achieve self-sufficiency without depending upon other countries for any sort of imports. Domestic industries, I mean indigenous, local industries, domestic industries were given protection from foreign competition. Domestic industries, I mean native industries, indigenous industries were given protection from foreign competition, and for the same, our Indian government made several laws. And it was done through two ways. One is heavy duty in imports. I mean we adopted trade barriers. Trade barriers are helping in what? controlling the imports by a country. Or trade barriers helps in what? Stopping the free trade. WTO suggests to adopt free trade by all the countries. But if you adopt free trade, our local industries will be damaged, degenerated. That's why adopted what? Heavy import duties. That's one of the policy adopted by the government. By imposing heavy duties, we controlled the imports into India, the flooded of goods imports to India. Second one, large scale industries. Large scale industry was to be developed. I mean, big industries has to be developed with a view to build an infrastructural base in the country. So these two steps were taken. Now, what is the role? What is the role of industry in the development of India? If such question is asked, what will be your answer? What is the role of industry in the development of India? Generally, students, as I told you, poor nations can only develop if there is a strong industrial base. Industries helps in what? Many ways. So today I will tell you 4 points. With the help of these, there is urgent necessity to develop industries in India, or the role of industries in India. First, industries will help in what? Generating and creating employment opportunities. When employment opportunities will be generated, then people will get jobs. When they'll get jobs, they'll get salaries. When they get salaries, their per capita income will increase. When the per capita income will increase, the national income of the country also will increase. So it helps in generating and creation of employment opportunities. It helps in what? Production of various goods and services in the country, so that no need to import from other countries. Third one, it makes the country self-reliant economy. Self-reliant economy. I mean, without depending upon others, without stop importing goods from other countries. Expansion of occupational opportunities. It helps in what? Expansion of occupational opportunities. I mean, wide range of services, wide range of jobs. Next one, it helps in what? Increasing per capita income and national income. That's why the role of industry in what? India is very, very important. Now moving to next, public sector given a leading role. Public sector was given leading role. Why public sector only given a leading role? Several reasons are there. Now, at the time of independence, students, Indian economic conditions were very poor and weak. At the time of independence, on the eve of independence, if you look at the economic conditions of our country India, they were very poor and weak. There were neither sufficient foreign reserve, nor did India have international investment credibility at that time. Neither we are having foreign reserves, nor we are having what? International credibility in India. In the facet of such poor economic condition, so based on that poor economic condition, it was only the public sector or the public sectors that needed to take initiative. So what to do? Only government has to take the initiative to overcome this challenge. So in order to overcome that poor economic condition, initiative was taken by the public sectors in our country India. The following are the reasons that explain the driving role of the public sector in industrial development. I'll tell the reasons. Because of the reasons, the public sector was given more priority, more leading role soon after independence. Number 1, need of heavy investment. We need a lot of investment, and that investment cannot be borne by the private sectors or private individuals. That much amount they cannot bear, they cannot bring, they cannot invest, they will not possess. So, need of heavy investment. That is the first reason. That's why public sector was given leading role. So, need of heavy investment. There is a need of heavy investment for industrial development in India soon after independence. It was very difficult for the private sector. To invest such a big investment in this field. Further, the risks involved in these projects are also very high. If anything went wrong, the people will be in trouble, private sector people. So further, the risks involved in these sectors are also very high, and also very high, and all these projects had a long gestation period. I mean long production period. It take lot of time. High risk, long gestation period is needed. Thus the government only took the initiative. Thus the government played a leading role to provide the basic framework of heavy industries in our country India. Second important reason is low level of demand. Low level of demand. Try to understand this one. Low level of demand. At the time of independence, the majority of the population was poor. Yes, majority of the people are poor and had low level of income. They are poor. Naturally, their incomes are very low. Or since their incomes are very low, they are what? Poor at the time of independence. Consequently, there was low level of demand. When the incomes are less, naturally the consumers' demand will be more. When the incomes are less because of poverty or because of incomes they are poor, hence their purchasing power is what? Less. So consequently there was a low level of what? Demand. And so there was an impetus for any private sector to undertake investment in order to fulfill these demands. Since they are poor, low income, low level of income, hence the private sector people are they unable to come forward to make their investments in the development of industrial sector or heavy industries. Thus, India was trapped into a vicious cycle of low demand. Thus, India was trapped into a vicious cycle of low demand. The only way to encourage demand was by public sector investments. So, the method solution was only the public sector only should come forward to make huge investments in the field of industrial development. The third one is the mobilizing savings. The mobilizing savings, or I can say to mobilize savings and earn a foreign exchange. I mean, you have to mobilize savings from the public sector, whatever amount you will get. To mobilize savings and earn a foreign exchange, getting money from the foreign countries, that's also one way through which we can start industries. Fourth one, to prevent concentration of economic power. Economic power should not concentrate in single hand or few people's hand. So, to prevent the concentration of economic power, so if we take all the four steps, or because of the four things, for necessary reasons, public sector was given a leading role in India soon after independence. Next one. Development of foreign trade. Moving to the next topic. Development of foreign trade between 1950 and 1990. Development of foreign trade between 1950 and 1990. So students, at that time, inward looking trade strategy. Inward looking trade strategy was adopted by our Indian government soon after independence. Inward looking trade strategy. What does it mean? I mean, actually, this is the foreign policy that our country adopted at the time of independence or soon after independence. Inward looking trade strategy was adopted as a foreign policy. This strategy is called import substitution. That means stopping the imports from foreign countries and producing the same goods within the country by establishing industries. So this strategy is called import substitution. It aims at replacing or substituting imports with the domestic production. It aims at replacing or import substitution with the domestic production. Domestic industries, I mean local industries, native industries, is offered protection from foreign competition through import duties that we have already studied. I mean, the government of India imposed heavy import duties on imports, so that if they will come also, then the price will be more. When the price will be more, people will not purchase. They will prefer the local goods which are available at low cost. So imposing heavy duties, that means adopting trade barriers, stopping free trade. This policy is adopted by our government in order to protect the local industries. Its main objective was to save foreign exchange by encouraging domestic production. What is the main aim? The main aim was to save the foreign exchange by domestic production of such goods which could be imported from rest of the world. The government protected the domestic industries from competition through tariff and quotas, or I can say by imposing tariffs and quotas. So in this way, we protected our foreign trade at the time of independence. Now last topic which is not mentioned here, student, that I told you, that is debate on subsidies. Debate on subsidies. Students, you should know what is meant by subsidy. The term comes in economics, you might have heard in daily life also, subsidy. Subsidy always makes a difference in the price from the original price of the good. Subsidy always make a change in the price from the original price of the good. Usually subsidies are given by the government. In order to protect the interest of a particular section of people, maybe in industrial field or agricultural field, and to provide them incentives to coming into the field and start doing or start producing. Government gives subsidies in many areas. You know, that is LPG gas, in agriculture, in power, in transportation, or in industries. Many fields it gave subsidies to encourage, to protect the interests. So there is a debate over subsidies in India at the time. The economic justification, listen students, the economic justification of subsidies in agriculture is at present a hotly debated question. I mean, whether subsidies should be given in the agricultural sector. Is it necessary? If to be given, whom? If it is necessary, whom to be given? Why to be given? At what rate to be given? So there is a hot debate on subsidies to be given in agriculture sector at the time. It is generally agreed that it was necessary to use subsidies. To provide an incentive, incentive for adaptation of the new HYV seeds. Why incentives has to be given at that time? Because most of the farmers, they want to use HYV seeds to increase crop production because our population was more. Traditional, through organic methods, if you grow, will not meet the needs of the demands of the people. That's why they want to use HYV seeds. Or in order to encourage farmers to use HYV seeds, there is a need to give subsidies to the farmers. Otherwise, actually these HYV seeds, they cost more. And to purchase them, the farmer should have more money. Then only will purchase and you will use in the agriculture. So, by the farmers in general and the small farmers in particular, to use HYV seeds, there is a need to give subsidies. Any new technology will be looked upon as risky by the farmers. Generally, this is the first time you are using the HYV seeds technology, and it may be, for or against to us, or it may be benefit or loss to us. So any new technology will be generally it will be having lot of risky. So in order to protect from the risk to the farmers, subsidies has to be given. Subsidies were therefore needed to encourage farmers. They are needed to encourage farmers to test the new technology. Some economists believe that once the technology is found profitable, seems to be profitable and is widely adopted, subsidy should be phased out. Suppose initially we have to give the subsidy, and if the subsidy benefits the farmer, if the risks are very less, if farmers will get benefit, then later on the subsidy will be removed from that sector or stop giving to the farmers. Like that they thought. Since their purpose has to be served, but initially their purpose has to be served, they have to give subsidy. Later on when it will be benefited, subsidy will be withdrawn by the government. Further subsidies are meant to benefit the farmers, but a substantial amount of fertilizer subsidy also benefit the fertilizer industry. Yes, if you give subsidies in the fertilizers, it will also benefit the fertilizer industry. Okay, and among farmers, the subsidy largely benefits the farmers in the more prosperous regions. Therefore, it is argued that there is no case for continuing with the fertilizer subsidies. When government realized that when we are giving subsidy to the farmers, or when we are giving when we are giving the fertilizer subsidiary rate to the farmers, now also we are giving fertilizer subsidy rate, then it is benefiting to the fertilizer industry. I mean, when we are giving one benefit to one particular section of people, it is benefiting to other section of people. Immediately the government, removed the subsidy in what? Fertilizer industry or for on fertilizers. It does not benefit the target group, and it is a huge burden when we are giving subsidy to fertilizer also, or that is benefiting fertilizer industry. Moreover, these benefits are only meant for a target group people, not to all, and it is incurring a lot of burden on our Indian government. That's why the government withdrawn the subsidy from that one. On the other hand, some believe that the government should continue with agriculture subsidies. Some economists believe that the government should continue the subsidies in agriculture sector because farming in India continues to be a risky business. Yes, farming is risky. Hence, the government should continue subsidies in agriculture. Like that, many economists argued also. That's why today we are doing crop insurance, this and that, everything. Most farmers are very poor and they will not be able to afford the required inputs without subsidies. They cannot purchase, if subsidies are not given, they cannot purchase seeds, they cannot purchase fertilizers, they cannot purchase tools and implements, etc. Eliminating subsidies, removing subsidies will increase inequality between rich and poor farmers. If you remove subsidies, inequality will be developed, gap will be developed between rich and poor farmers, and violate the goal of equity, which is one of the goal of our Indian planning. Hence, experts argue that if subsidies are largely benefiting the fertilizer industry and big farmers, the correct policy is not to abolish subsidy, but to take steps to ensure that only poor farmers enjoy the benefits of subsidy. Okay, like that, through subsidy, many benefits are made by the farmers, and still we are giving subsidy in agricultural sector, and they have to give, government has to give. Because our country is a farming country, major people are depending upon agriculture. So students, in this way we have concluded the chapter and we covered all the topics. Hope you have understood these topics, and I further suggest you to go through the textbook line to line for better understanding of the concept. It will help, it will add your knowledge. We will come up with some more chapters in the form of videos in the coming days. So till then, take care.